As broadcaster Brett Musburger says for many years, you are looking live at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey for Pope John Junior Lion Lacrosse. Mike Formasano here calling today's action as the Pope John Junior Lions are in the MetLife tournament here in East Rutherford, taking on in their first game the Suffern Mounties. Now, Pope John has gone ahead and been split into 8th and 7th grade teams today, and they're playing on the far field over on field 2. The MetLife Stadium field has been split into 4 different quadrants. So, what will happen is we're going to have half-hour games, 3 of them for the 8th grade team and 3 for the 7th grade. So, what we'll do is we'll bring those games to you as much as we can. Pope John in their blue uniforms, the 8th grade squad, will get started first on the far field. This is as close as we can get to it. We got a game going on underneath. But Pope John in their blue uniforms on the far field will be taking on the Suffern Mounties. Now, on the 8th grade squad for Pope John is going to be their 8th grade roster. Let me go ahead and get that for you. It's going to be Sal Diarco is number 5, Aiden Hicks, number 2, Dante Lamb, number 23, Evan Wanamaker, number 1, Frankie Spagnola, number 8, Jack Seeger, number 3, Johnny Kranga, number 21, Matt Riley, number 12, and Ty Plotz is number 44. Looks like Diarco will be in net number 5. Again, they're on the far field as we start here. So we will bounce back and forth between 8th grade and 7th grade, and the 7th graders will start out at 6:30 p.m. So we'll race over to go ahead and cover that one on the opposite side, as you can see over here. But we are in the top left corner of MetLife Stadium in the field here, and that's where Pope John will start. Pope John going left to right in their blue uniforms trimmed by gold and white. They're going left to right, and here's Dante Lamb. Lamb wins the face-off. The shot goes wide and into the netting. It's 30-minute halves, or 30-minute games, I should say. 6-on-6. So it's not like traditional lacrosse where you have 10 players on a field. It's 6-on-6, and that's why the teams are split up. Here's a shot by number 72 for Suffern. It goes wide and out of bounds. So Pope John will take over. There's 21, Kranga. He will take the ball over the 10-yard line. Again, it's 40-yard fields, or 45-yard fields that they're playing on right now. Here's Krang on the left side. The shot goes wide and into the back netting. Pope John, their 8th grade squad, going up against the Suffern Mounties. Later on, they'll take on Rutherford, and they'll also take on, I believe, Wayne. So we'll get to that later on. Meanwhile, the 7th graders will start at 6:30. So here's a shot by Suffern. Save by Diarco. And it goes now over to Ty Plotz. Plotz at the 5-yard line will run up the field in the middle. Coming in on net. Plotz with the shot. Saved by the Suffern netminder. And he'll recover and take possession. Suffern running along the far sideline. They're in red uniforms trimmed by white. They're going right to left. And again, as we said, Pope John in their blue uniforms going left to right. Here's Dante Lamb, number 23. Lamb loses it on the turf, and it goes over to number 65 for Suffern. And out of bounds. So Pope John will take over. Again, no clocks, as the referees will control it on the field. This shot by Kranga. He scores! Johnny Kranga puts Pope John up 1-0. So the shot from the left side goes in, and Kranga gives a 1-0 lead over Suffern. Here's number 8, the shot on Diarco. He scores. So Suffern ties it immediately after Kranga's goal. 1-1, Pope John and Suffern. So Diarco will pass it back to Plotz. There's no face-offs except for the initial one to start the game. Here's a shot by Plotz, saved by the Suffern netminder, and he'll recover. That's number 11 for the Mounties. Suffern out of Suffern, New York, upstate, right in Rockland County, Rockland, Orange County, that area up there. Here's Plotz up the left sideline, past the Wanamaker, just out of his reach and out of bounds. What we'll do is we will make a quick jaunt over to the other side of the field as soon as this game is over. That is number 11. 18, the shot on goal goes wide and into the netting. Pope John will take over. That's number 23, Dante Lamb with it. Lamb past the goal line on the left side here at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey for game number 1 of the MetLife-Trilogy Classic. This is the 8th grade squad for Pope John. The shot by Lamb. They're at 1-1. Goes out of bounds, and here's Krankus. So Suffern must have got a piece of that, the goalkeeper. Here's the shot. He scores! Evan Wanamaker buries it in the back of the net. And Pope John takes a 2-1 lead. The Mounties out of Suffern, New York. Later games for the 8th grade squad will be against Rutherford and I believe also against Wayne. We'll double check that. As for the 7th graders, they start at 6:30, also against a Rutherford squad, the Rutherford Bulldogs. They're split between blue and white. Here's a shot in, saved by Suffern. They'll hold on to it. Now to pass down the field over to number 35. 35 falls down on his left knee. Ball's knocked loose. He picks it back up. Now over to number 8. It goes wide of him, and so Kranga chasing it down. Now Kranga with the shot. He scores! Oh, no, it's actually on the side of the net. My apologies. It hit the side of the net, and so the score remains 3-3. Tough to see from this angle as it was. I saw the net move as he shot it, but it hit the outside of the net and stayed in there as opposed to going between the pipes. Here's Plotz coming in. Ty Plotz with the shot. He scores! And that is a good goal. And Plotz has given Pope John a 4-3 lead. So the Lions with something to prove here against Suffern in this first game. Continuing to take the lead. They'll give it back up. One time they fell behind, but they got the goal right back. Here's the shot, saved by DiArco. And it goes out of bounds. So Suffern will take over. Pope John leading 4-3. And the reason why I say they got something to prove is because going into the Riverlax tournament about a month ago, here's a shot saved by DiArco. And he'll go ahead and pass it out to Lamb. Lamb charging down the right sideline. Lamb will pass it off to Plotz. Plotz with the shot goes wide and into the back netting. And I believe Frankie Spagnola was closest. So, no, they're going to give it over to Suffern. Suffern will take over, charging down the field. Now in the middle of it, about the 15-yard line, number 35 will stop. He'll reverse course. Coming in on net, 35 with the shot. And he scores. He bounced it, and it hit just underneath the crossbar. And so that makes it 4-4. So as I said, in the Riverlax tournament, Pope John only went 2-2. Now, that's a fine record. And, the Lions played well in all 4 games of that tournament. However, losing those 2, they haven't lost all season. So they want to prove their dominance and show that they can come into MetLife Stadium and win these 3 games against the 3 opponents that have been set for them. You've got talent all throughout the Northeast here, so it's not easy. But that is definitely the mission for Pope John today on both the 8th and 7th grade levels. So here's the shot by Plotz. He scores! Ty Plotz into the lower left portion of the net. And Pope John up 5-4. Number 35 has it now for Suffern, down to 15. The shot goes wide of the left post and out of bounds. Pope John will take over. Now to Plotz. Plotz at the 30. Plotz will take it right in on goal. The backhand shot. He scores! Ty Plotz gives the Pope John Lions a 6-4 advantage. Now Suffern will take it. The Lions 6-0 on regular season. Here's a shot saved by DiArco as number 77 was falling down for Suffern. And now it's in close and Lamb buries it past number 11 for Suffern and gives Pope John a 7-4 lead. Now along the far sideline, we've got Aiden Hicks on the Mountie defenseman. It's up to number 70. Plotz stops that. and he'll scoop it up, but an infraction on Ty, and so Suffern will take over. Hope John leading 7-4. About halfway through this 25-minute truncated game here at MetLife Stadium. Plotz will pick it up. Plotz coming in with a wing. Passes off to Hicks. Hicks with the shot. He scores! Aiden Hicks able to put it to the back of the net. And Pope John now doubling up. Suffern, it's 8-4. Ball down the field, and we get Dante Lamb with it over to Kranga. Kranga will lead it down the field on the left sideline. The shot by Kranga, it's deflected. It goes up in the air and back behind the Suffern net. So if you're just joining us, focus your eyes on the backfield, not the forward one. The forward one, there's two other teams playing. If you're looking for Pope John, they're in their blue uniforms on the backfield here, taking on Suffern, who's in red. It's Pope John 8, Suffern 4, about halfway through game number 1 here at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Here's Suffern with the shot, and they score. So Suffern forward puts it into the back of the net past Diarco, and it's 8-5 Pope John. Again, once this game is over, we will bolt quickly out of here. Here's Plotz with the shot. He scores. We got a whistle, so did that negate the goal? They haven't put the 5th goal on the board for Suffern either. So here's number 70 coming down the field. Number 70 with the shot, and he scores. And so that's going to make it 8-5. So I guess that 9th one, they negated that as the referees were talking with the Pope John players. So take the 9th goal off the board and make it 8-5 Pope John over Suffern. We have the scores in the back 10, so that makes it a little easier for us to be able to keep track. Here's the shot, just goes wide, heading towards the back line. I think Hicks was there first, so Pope John will maintain possession. Here's Wanamaker over to Hicks. Hicks behind the net. On the referee's whistle, there it is. And so here's Wanamaker. Wanamaker fakes to his left, now to his right. The shot, he scores! Evan Wanamaker puts it into the back of the net, past the Suffern goalkeeper. And it is 9-5, Pope John over Suffern. We are waiting for the official score to flip that card over. It's still saying 8-5, but you saw it as much as I did. The ball went in the back of the net. Anyway, here's Kranga. Kranga will pass it up the field over to number 3, Jack Seeger, and he scores. Seeger puts it into the back of the net. And now they're flipping that. It's at 9-5. So I guess the goal beforehand did not count. It's tough to see because you can't hear the referee signals or what they rule on the field. So even though you see the ball go in and perhaps the whistle blew, anyway, the scoreboard reads 9-5. Here's a shot by Spagnola. Save by the Suffern netminder. And it goes up the field. Suffern has it. So we're going to go by the scorecards on the table. And that reads 9-5 Pope John. And here's the shot. Goes wide of the net to the right as Diarco chases it down. And Pope John will take over possession. 9-5 here. 17 minutes in. Got about 7 or 8 left before the end of this one. And then we will bring to you at 6:30 the first 7th grade game for Pope John. And that'll be against Rutherford. Here's a shot. Goes wide of the net. Missed it by about a foot. Out of bounds, but Spagnola was closest to the back line. So Pope John will maintain. Here's Plotz. Plotz coming in. Ty Plotz on the left. The shot. Save. Goes over to Spagnola. And then out of bounds as he's hit. So Suffern will take over. Score is 9-5. Pope John leading over Suffern. Here's the shot on goal, and he scores. Diarco got a piece of it, but it rolled in just over the goal line. And so the goal goes on the board, and it is 9-6. So the tough thing, if we have on the near field later, which we'll have game number 2 for Pope John, they'll be on field number 1, which is closest. We won't have the scoreboard, but we will have closer vision of what's going on. Here's a save by the Suffern netminder. Goes over to Lamb. Lamb has it. Pass back over to Hicks. Hicks surrounded by a sea of Suffern players. Now here is Seeger. Seeger picks it up. Having trouble holding on to it as the ball's bouncing off the turf. And it goes out of bounds. So artificial turf here at MetLife Stadium. Home to the New York Giants and the New York Jets and many other events. Super Bowl 50 was played here. The World Cup final will be played here in about a year in soccer. Here's the pass over to number 1, intercepted by Riley. So this is definitely a treat for anybody who gets a chance to play on this field. Here's the shot by 18. He scores into the top of the net, past the Arco, and Suffern inches closer. It's now 9-7. So I'm going to whistle on the play and waiting to see what is going on. Lamb has it. Referee has gone ahead and started the clock. Lamb, it's knocked out of his cross. It's on the turf. He's trying to recover it. Lamb does. He turns around. Loses over to Suffern. Ball still on the turf, however. They scoop it forward. Plotz will pick it up. Ty Plotz on the left side. The shot. He scores. Ty Plotz into the back of the net. And Pope John now leads 10-7. Suffern brings it up the field. Only about 5 minutes to go here in this first game. 6-on-6, half field. No power plays. No faceoffs except the beginning of the game. The shot, save by D'Arco. And so D'Arco playing in net today in place of Michael Morelli, who's playing for the 7th grade team. D'Arco played for Pope John in net in the Riverlax tournament, did very well. Lamb has it. Lamb will pass it off to Riley. Riley with the shot knocked down by the Suffern defender. Ball's loose right in front of the crease. Still fighting for it. And there's Spagnola. Spagnola's going to pick it up. Good job by Frankie. He'll pass it off to Riley. Riley with the shot. Deflected down. It's on the turf. Riley fighting to get it back. Comes over to Lamb. Now goes over to the Suffern player who just brushes it forward almost like a broom. And Suffern recovers. They're able to finally get the ball off the turf. He's got 2 Pope John players around him. Lamb steals it away, and he puts it into the back of the net. Dante Lamb steals it from the Suffern defender and buries it beyond the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. 11-7, Pope John leads over Suffern. Suffern coming down the field, the shot, he scores. Right past the Arco, and it is 11-8. Here's Kranga with it, number 21, gives it over to Lamb. Dante Lamb walking up the field. They'll pass it off to Kranga on the left side. Pope John can take their time with a 3-goal lead. Here's Plotz. Plotz rips it. It off the post, and it's right in front of the goalkeeper. Doesn't know where it is. He finally turns around and is able to smother it and give it off to his defenseman, number 8. So that hit the post, and the goalkeeper didn't know where it was. Here's the shot by number 68. D'Arco knocks him down as the shot goes wide to the left. So Pope John now leading 12-8. We got just minutes to go here. As I said, we will go off the air pretty quickly as soon as this game's over, as I will race to the other side of the stadium to get there in time for the start of the 7th grade game, and that is against Rutherford starting at 6:30. They only give like a 2 or 3 minute break, so. And then we'll be back for the 8th graders at 7 p.m. His ball goes out of bounds. Now here's Kranga. Kranga passes it off to Lamb. Lamb behind. He's got 35 and number 8 chasing him down. Lamb racing up the field. Lamb will pass it off to Wanamaker. Wanamaker with a shot. He scores! Evan Wanamaker. 13-8, Pope John. And there's Wanamaker playing some defense, too. Kid can do it all. Here's Craig on the left side. Bounces it, but is just past the right post. And I believe Suffern was closest, so. I'm going to whistle on the play. Suffern will take over. 13-8 is the score now. Pope John over Suffern. And here's number 35. Passes up the field. The shot saved by Diarco. And it bounces out of bounds. And Suffern is closest, so they'll maintain possession. Here's the pass over to 15. The shot, he scores. He tucked it right in the bottom right corner of the net. Not much Diarco could do to stop that. It's 13-9. Now, here's Jack Seeger, number 3. Over to Wanamaker, number 1. Pass back to Dante Lamb. Lamb over to Kranga. Kranga back to Lamb. Lamb at the 10 or 12-yard line. We'll give it off to Kranga. Now, behind the back pass, Lamb picks it up. He'll go to his right. He's got a defender on him. Facing down another one, he reverses course. Pope John just looking to kill some clock. Another behind-the-back pass by Kranga over to Seeger. He got it there. And here's Seeger with a shot. And he scores! Jack Seeger into the back of the net. And Pope John leads 14-9. Ball on the turf. Plotz coming in. Plotz with the shot. Did that go in? I didn't see the referee motion. It did. 15-9. 15-9. Pope John leading over Suffern. Now here come the Mounties down the field. Ball's on the turf. Number 27 has it. It's knocked loose of his cross. Actually, number 37 for Suffern. There's Wanamaker. He'll scoot it back behind the net towards the back line. It's not over, so Suffern has to pick it up. Not much time remaining here. Again, we're dependent on the referee's whistles as there are no clocks here showing at MetLife Stadium since you got 4 different games going. So here's Plotz. Plotz with a behind-the-back pass. I guess everybody's getting into it. Kranga on the left side. He does the same thing. He faked it. He holds on to the ball. So Kranga back to Lamb. Suffering all over him. 15-9. Pope John leads. Lamb passes in to Plotz. Plotz to Wanamaker. Just out of his reach. Goes out of bounds. The pride is spoken. Pope John defeats Suffern here in game 1 of the MetLife Classic. 15-9. We will be back with you at 6:30 for the 7th graders for Pope John on field number 4. For everybody here at MetLife Stadium, it's Mike Formisano saying thanks for joining us. Final score, Pope John, the Lions defeat the Suffern Mounties 15-9. See you in a few minutes.